Was macht ein Unternehmen? Und ich spreche von ABB mit über 100.000 Mitarbeitern, tätig in über 100 Ländern. Was macht solch ein Unternehmen mit diesen Verwerfungen, mit diesen geopolitischen Fragen, auch mit diesen großen Herausforderungen? Und wie führt man ein solches Unternehmen? We're very proud to have the new CEO of ABB, who's been at the helm since last August, here to take a deep dive into the company. Please welcome with me, Morten Wierod. Hi, Morten. See you. Please have a seat. You asked me whether it's Eye of the Tiger as well. When you show up, it's Coldplay. I'm sorry. Were you a Rocky fan?
Well, I think I'm more of a Coldplay fan.
Okay, good. So we picked the right one then. Morten, you've been a CEO since last year. Let's start with a personal question, because it was very striking when I read it. You're pretty much a one-company man. You haven't worked for another company. You're Norwegian, and the striking thing is your whole family has pretty much worked for that company, which at that time was called Bramborveri, in Norway as well, in Skien. Do I pronounce that correctly?
Close enough.
Close enough. So I didn't. Your parents worked there, your grandfather worked there, I think 2 uncles of your mother worked there, and your first job was with BBC, with Bramborveri as well. How important is that loyalty, that kind of thinking that I am indeed a one-company man?
No, I think it's something when you work for so many years. Of course, you get. I love ABB from I was brought up. So that's the starting point of it, and it's important. You also have to remember that ABB are. And especially in those days, a lot of the companies, the BBC and ASEA as well, when they came together, were operating in smaller places. Skien is the correct pronunciation. Okay. And that's not Oslo. We are in Västerås, which is outside Stockholm, but it's not Stockholm. Mm-hmm. Also here we are in Baden and Turgi, not in Zurich that much anymore. So that's and there you grow up in places where ABB is the biggest private employer. And it's when I travel around the world, that is often the case. And that makes a bit of, you grow up, you know that is the biggest company in town. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you also, for many, I think, like me, was where you would like to work when you get older, because that's also a lot of family members were. So that's a starting point, and then I try and see the same when I've been working in Norway, in China, or here in Switzerland. So I get that same feeling.
Which gives a good insight of what you have been learning also in ABB through all these different positions, jobs, different countries as well. Since we are talking about the international situation at the moment as well, I'd like to pick up on something that Rory just said. Do CEOs have to be geopolitical experts right now? When you look at the world, do you think you will have to understand what's going on in order to successfully lead your business into the future?
Yes, that's a short answer. Yeah. The longer one is that you have to understand, and that's why at least I have to travel a lot to meet, because you need to meet people on the ground to understand. So one thing is what you read and you can listen to a presentation like we just heard, but you need also to understand how is the world working on the ground. Because so this year I've been 6 times in the United States already, and because all the changes that is happening, I feel is also important. And I leave as a European a bit of a pessimist, and then after a couple of days in the United States, I'm a more balanced, and when I leave and come back home, I say everything will be fine. And my wife kind of asking what happened in that week when you were away. But when you meet American customers, they see Europe very different than what Europe sees US. Mm-hmm. And this is so easy to forget. We are living in our own box. If it's in Switzerland, in Europe, my home country of Norway, when I watch the news, it is one story. Normally I was used to having CNN as a big source of information for the US. Today I have CNN and Fox News, both apps, and you have to watch both sets of news and try to figure out where the truth is, maybe somewhere in the middle, or at least to hear both sides of the story.
What do you make of the tariff discussion at the moment? I was just looking it up. I think you produce a lot locally in the US, 75 to 80%. I guess that's a big help in that discussion. On the other hand, how worried are you?
I'm not that worried for tariffs as such when it comes to, because we are, as a large multinational companies, we have our local for local strategy. We are producing in United States, as you say, about 75, 80%. If you add what we take from Mexico and Canada, which is covered by this USMCA trade agreement, then we are up to close to 90. So that means that our exposure is not that big. So of course, I know that for many people in the room who are having a factory maybe or in a unit in Europe serving the US market and Asia, it's a very different game. But for us as ABB, that's not the worry. My worry with the tariffs now is more of a global slowdown, that this is bad for the global economy. And so because from that, nobody is immune, no matter where you produce.
When we look at it on a geopolitical scale again, we have new powers, we have old powers that are pretty much going against each other. You talked about it. You have a lot of experience in China. Do you see that relationship as a potential risk for the future as well? That we have two blocks, two superpowers, so to speak, who aren't at the moment not the best of friends. And when I look at the different tariff discussions, who will probably not be the best of friends in the future either.
No, but I don't think there will be a hot war. But the Cold War is already ongoing. And the war today is not about weapons. It's mostly fought on the field of AI. It's a race, and I feel also in the American discussion, being very much kind of the winners of AI and the technology is also the winner of the world. And that's the race that is ongoing at the moment, where you see also the huge spending on infrastructure into data center, into better chips. You know, what is NVIDIA allowed to sell to China and not, and so on. So I think that is where the war is fought these days, more on the web, on the technical side, and luckily not on the ground. Okay. And I think that is also what we will see in the next years. The whole kind of access to raw materials, access to the best technology. Those will be the winners. And I think but the understanding between China and US, I think it's not really there. I think. For me, Americans are underestimating the Chinese, because China as a country is doing extremely well, and I have a lot of respect. I lived there for 4 years myself, and I see also the progress that is made in China. So I think here it's a tough competition, and we should not underestimate it. And I think it's also important for Europe to stay a bit in the middle, and we have to play with both. And we should. I think that's one of the opportunities also to be able to take, hopefully, tension down over time, is to be that bridge between cultures. Because
will we be able to? That's the big question. Don't you think we will have to choose sooner or later?
I think at least we should try. I don't think that going into making that decision now is the right choice. I think we need to, yes, Europe and US is closely, historically, through NATO, to a lot of collaboration. That is, we are closely connected together, but I think also there need to be collaboration and bridges also to the other side of the world too. We should not try to get BRICS and to distance ourselves from everybody else. I don't think that is the right way forward. And there Europe has a role to play in that picture.
However, do you feel a pressure in certain respects? You invest heavily in the United States, as some other companies are doing as well. There is discussion of the whole DEI topic that has been, let's say, taken back by some companies because they are afraid of complications with the White House. ABB, for example, in that matter, hasn't decided yet what they will do. Do you feel that pressure?
What we have decided, and which is clear in every country and every market we operate, we will and we have to follow local law. And that we will do in United States, as we do in China and Switzerland and everywhere.
But that can be tricky if
it is a difference, and I think what we will always uphold in ABB is that we are true to our values. We have, and that's we have 4 C's. When I travel the world, we say about care, courage, curiosity, and collaboration. It's the 4 values of ABB, and that is where we need to stick to those values, especially about respect. And we have a saying also, "Come as you are," which is especially mentioned now in the month of June. And so we celebrate Pride Month in ABB now in the month of June, and we will continue to do that. But we respect and we follow local law in every country we operate. That is part of the game. But you still need to have be clear about who are we, how do we operate, and how do we act together with our inside the company and also with partners on the outside. And that,
because it can be an ethical dilemma, right?
It is. So, and there are areas there you make a decision if you want to participate or not. But we are working in more than 100 countries. We are facing these challenges everywhere we go. There are countries where you need to have, say, different board representation on gender. It's something we follow, and there are other places you're not allowed to do special programs these days. This is how we have to adopt, but still the values of the company and how we interact internally, that is something that we have still full control, and we're going to continue also to run those programs where respect and also having collaboration across border inside ABB for us is very important, because that's how we grow both the company but also how we support customers all around the world.
Let's talk about the core business of ABB. We're in the middle of a huge energy transformation. You once said, and I quote, "Electrification is the unsung hero of everything we do. Most people tend not to think about it on a daily basis, generally only when it doesn't work." You're a big supporter of electrification. You've worked in that field as well. Can you talk a little bit more about the role that you see in the whole energy transition, the role of ABB, but also in what you can do regarding electrification?
Yeah, and I think that statement, I had I would say the opportunity, maybe not the pleasure, but I had the opportunity to stay the Monday in Malaga in Spain, when 60 million people were without electricity for 7 hours. So I think that to show what we are, how society are dependent today of electricity and electrification was very visible. I was just happy it was only 7 hours and not 24, because today everything we do, and that was so visible, everything we do today is by electrification. People couldn't travel, they were stuck in elevators, the water didn't run in the pipes, very few people have a reserve generator. So it was a society where all the shops you couldn't pay. We are already completely dependent on electricity, and that is something we, as ABB, take very serious also, that this is national security and national infrastructure. And we want to be that partner also for governments, but of course also for all of our customers who is so dependent today because of electricity. So secure electrification and automation is the whole skeleton of societies today. And we are moving now even more into that area, where you see a lot of, as we decarbonize industries, and always
and digitization and AI
and everything of that. To do it, you need electricity. It's the only source of truth when it comes to getting those things happening. With the data centers that comes up, we as ABB, we have a lot of content in there to provide secure and safe electricity to all those data centers. So when you see those big new data centers being built, there will be switchgear, there will be transformer, everything that is outside, but also a lot of the equipment that sits inside with the racks where the computing is happening, how those are being provided electricity and cooling to those areas where we are involved.
Of course, there's huge competition in that market, as well as another field in robotics, for example. You want to take public the robotics division by 2026. who are the biggest competitors, and who do you fear the most?
We have a few global competitors, Schneider Electric, Siemens, as two here in Europe. We have Eaton, which we mostly meet over in the United States, but also companies like Honeywell and Emerson. And we have some in the Asian side in China. If you ask who I kind of fear the most, I'm kind of not really that afraid of competition. It's kind of where we have to step up. This is where I believe that competition is good. That's why I believe free trade is good as well. You cannot protect yourself against that. It's where you need to stay innovative and remain a technology leader and provide customers with better service than your peers in the industry. That's when we win. And there I'm very proud of the journey ABB have been on the last 5-6 years, where we have been able to transform the company, focused more on electrification and automation, and been able also to gain global market share and improve the performance of the company. So we are on a good track, and that's also what I want to accelerate now in the next coming years.
I promised the people some deep dive into ABB, and let me just take one question from the audience, which is going actually quite deep into the company itself. You still have 50 seconds to reply to it. Which are the most important KPIs that you follow as indicators for the development of ABB? Have these changed due to the changing environment? Also very
well, yeah. So what we are following is, of course, our financial KPIs, and it's a bit of a change probably there from we had a lot of profit improvement focus, and now we're moving more to revenue growth focus. Still, we want to improve our profitability, but we are on a level where now it's more important to grow.
Is that the biggest change to your predecessor as well?
That is, we say, the biggest change, yes. And how we do that is both by organic growth. That means we're going to invest even more in technology and R&D. But we're also looking at how we can invest more in acquiring other companies and gain market share, getting access kind of to new technology or new markets that we don't serve today by buying other companies. So acquisitions will be it's a bigger part also of what we do now in the next 5 years compared to what we had in the last 5.
And just a second question, have these KPIs changed with everything that's been going on in the last weeks, months?
Not really. I think you have always to make a long-term strategy. And what happens in the last 3 months, it's not like, for me, it's been turbulent times, but in the other way, we also saw it coming. We talked about resilience. Our local for local programs producing in the region has been ongoing for the last 20 years. Tariffs is not something new. We call them import duties, we call them many things, but we have been facing this as a global company for the last 25 years. So it's always, I think, also to be kind of always looking about what are the different scenarios that may happen, but on the other hand, you have to have a plan and a long-term direction and need to follow that, and you cannot make new plans every 3 days or now even 3 minutes at times, it feels like.
That will be President Trump to do that. Morten Wierod, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.